What's up, guys? So in this one, we're gonna try to make it pretty short. Want to wait for my new mic to get in, so forgive me if I'm too loud. I'm gonna try to control the volume, but let's jump right into it. In this one, we're gonna talk about Wano Theory going forward, and we're gonna try to fix a lot of those loose ends. So the first thing I wanted to talk about was the fact that Nekomamushi hasn't shown up yet. They're pretty much at the start of the battle, and they're at the front of Onigashima, pretty much ready to fight. They've already engaged a few of Kaito's people by way of breaking through the front gate, and Usopp using his abilities as a sniper to put some of the people asleep. But again, one of the loose ends, we got Jinbei, but it's kind of funny that we got Jinbei before we got Neko. And the last time we saw Neko, he was having a conversation with Marco on Roger's favorite islands. And one of the things that was brought up was the fact that Marco and the remnants of the White Bear pirates were being chased by Weevil. We also know, as far as Weevil's last location, he was being hunted by the Marines because the era of having Shishibukai had pretty much been made null and void. So let's jump back to Neko. Neko was having a conversation with Marco, and it basically left us at a cliffhanger to where it said, okay, well, make sure you tell Luffy, and then it cut. This has something to do with Kaito. So my speculation is either it was something about Kaito's forces, something about one of Kaito's weaknesses, or it was something that would help assist with them taking out Kaito. And I feel that's one of the reasons why we haven't seen Neko yet, because I think with that information, he's going to use it with his side of the musketeers or the pirates that he has to pretty much execute that plan. One of the things I could think of was, we know Kaito has this huge reason to want to kill himself, but it hasn't been fleshed out yet as of why. Recently in the chapter, we've had the fact that he has a son being brought up, and there's a lot of speculation on who that is. But my thing is, I honestly think the intel that Kaito doesn't have out there like that Marco was giving to Luffy in way of Neko, has something to do with his son. I think it's the fact that when you look at Kaito's operations, who is the brains behind his operations? Like, we know when it comes to Big Mom forces, for example, and it comes to the actions of the day-to-day, her children take care of that. Her not so much. When it comes to just taking care of the home front and Big Mom Chateau and security and everything like that, Katakuri in a way was like her head of security. Even though she put Capone in a position under her words, Katakuri still overshadowed him and came in and pretty much just took over like he wasn't even there and ran everything. Every time we've seen Big Mom hold an event, Katakuri was like the unspoken head of all operations. He was her operations boss. He was her second in command. He was her first mate pretty much. And we have to understand, who is that for Kaito? We've only seen King handle stuff pretty much when he had to, because he wanted to force the underlings to do it first. And the underling at that time, it wasn't Jack, it was Queen. And Queen was pretty much commanding people, not doing it himself, pretty much commanding people to do things through different forms of weaponry and mechanics. And King pretty much took it upon himself, once all of those efforts failed, to just end it himself. He ended the threat. But my thing is, do we honestly think Orochi, or one of his henchmen, is the brains of Kaito and his crew? And I think that's preposterous. Because even Kaito can see that Orochi takes things too far, and he's not good or when it comes to negotiations and business. Kaito has to take step on that. And then we got to think about, okay, let's rule out Kaito. Kaito's always drunk. Kaito's always in his feelings. For what reasons, we still do not know. We're starting to get it fleshed out that we think it's family oriented. But, okay, put him aside. He has a problem just like Big Mom. His flaw is alcohol. Her flaw is food. Okay, so if his flaw is alcohol, how can the person that's always drunk be the brains of the operation? There has to be somebody else. And I think Marco's message was the brains of Kaito's operation is his son. If you take out his son, you could pretty much decimate Kaito's entire force. Now, let's move forward. How could that be done? I think that's when Neko and his forces come through. Neko's known for moving through the night. Neko's known for having a little stealth to him. When he walked up on Capone, and Capone didn't notice his presence until he was already there. Neko's known to move. And my man, when he was fighting against Jack, he was actually pretty flexible. My man was good on his feet. His footwork was phenomenal. And he was able to get past and dodge a lot of Jack's attacks, even though they were straightforward and pretty linear. He made Jack look like he wasn't even swinging a sword. So, hey, I feel that's Nekomamushu's role going forward in this arc. Since he hasn't showed up yet, I feel that's going to be what the role that he's going to play once he does show up. I don't think he's going to be one of those that goes directly into the battle where everyone else is. Because let's think about it on an operational standpoint. If the only way to get to Kaito is to attack his island where he's at, it's just like in regular United States politics. You never keep all the big players in the same room together. One of them always has to not be there, like the designated survivor. So if I'm the head of your operations and I'm the brains of your operations, even though you are setting a party, there has to be somebody that they can rely on that's not drunk, that's in their right mind, and that can act on their feet. If Orochi's out going crazy, Jack is probably drunk. Queen, we've already seen Queen is leading the hype fest. Freaking Funk Master Queen out there getting his dancing on. And you know Kaito's already drunk. Who's left? I think that Neko's job is to find the actual location of the sun, the person that's running everything from the shadows. And he's going to end up, his opponents are going to be made up of the Flying Six. Because I do think this is when we're going to see some of the fights. Neko's going to end up getting information to the remainder of the crew, letting them know, hey, I need backup. Because I think the Flying Six's job coming up in this next chapter is going to be to escort the sun from his location to the party. And in the process of him being escorted there, I think that's when Neko and the remainder of the crew, whoever he brings, will show up and be a part of him. Also, just to throw this in real quick, because I don't want this video to be longer than 10 minutes. Again, last time we heard from Weevil, he was attacking the remnants of the Whitebeard crew, and then once he was no longer a retainer for the Marines because they got rid of the Shishibukai system, he was basically being attacked by the Marines. Which means that he has a reason, him and his mom, Bakken, have a reason to do something else. Neko was a part of Whitebeard's crew, so he would know Bakken if she was there during that time. He would also, I think, know of Whitebeard having a kid, or at least have some knowledge of the process. I think that Weevil does show up on that island while Neko's still there, and Bakken and him have a conversation, because he would know a little. I think he would know just as much about Marco, if not a little bit more. Yeah, Marco was already there, but I think in all the interactions between Odin, Neko, when Neko went and jumped on Roger's ship. They got a lot of good inspiration. They got a lot of knowledge, and I think some stories or some flashbacks are gonna come out of Neko being there with Marco, because there has to be a reason. Like, Oda didn't just put him there for no reason, and they didn't just bring up Weevil's name while Neko was there for no reason. But anyway, that's just my little short, straight to the point theory about Neko's whereabouts and why he hasn't shown up in the war thus far. Thank you guys for your time. Happy to be back. Happy to be recording material. Subscribe if you like. If you don't like, just hit the button. Let me know. Hey, dislike. Give me comments to do better. Thank you guys. Love you. Thanks for the attention. Jace out.